We're going to be talking Nick Sirianni, the Philadelphia Eagles 2023 demise, and where the hell have I been? All that coming up next here on the ENN Podcast.
The following announcement has been paid for by
The ENN Podcast.
He has a good energy, you guys.
Can you feel
Sport.
that excitement? And also,
Wearing the merchandise, wearing the hats.
is what I'm seeing for real?
Wild here live from Lincoln Financial.
I can't wait till this video's over so I can say its name anymore.
Music.
Wow. Man, again, and I hate to do this again, but these are goofy.
What the hell? What is that? Whoa! What the hell?
And more.
What's his next book gonna be called? Got you cocksucker! I did not see that coming.
Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the ENN Podcast. I'm professional wrestler Chris Wilde, live from the studio here at Bar 4133, and it has been a while since I've got to talk to you guys. I've actually had some videos that I've done that I just never got the chance to edit or release, and it has been one hell of a season, to say the least. Now, I've done a handful of videos, and in the handful of videos, I got to be honest with you, it was very hard to get up for this Philadelphia Eagles team. Now, I'm the same guy that in 2019 and in 2020 created about a video a day, and I tip my hat to any of the content creators out there that were able to do that this season. There's a lot of personal reasons why I wasn't the video a day kind of guy, or even a video a week kind of guy, and I'm sorry for all the subscribers that have subscribed to this channel expecting content about the Eagles, Philadelphia sports, music reviews, movie reviews, and everything that I had promised. It had just been, and I'm sure we've all been through this in our life, I was in a rut. I was in a real rut mentally, and there was just a lot of things going on around me and both my careers, especially my wrestling career, very busy with that. And the Philadelphia Eagles just didn't give me a lot of oomph to come and do videos. I mean, at one point they were 10-1, and even at 10-1, I did some TikToks, I did some videos. It was still hard to get into doing the video because the outside media and all the noise surrounding the team, it just was never positive. It was like they couldn't do anything right this season. And it was almost like the media actually likes it that way. It's so weird. So here we are sitting at the end of the season after an absolute epic collapse. I'm talking a collapse like no team has ever seen in NFL history, right? I mean, if not the worst collapse, it's one of the worst collapses ever. To start out 10-1 and not even win 12 games and then lose like they did in the playoffs, it was an absolute disaster for a team that just this time last year was getting ready to go into an NFC Championship game and then into a Super Bowl where they were a holding penalty away from possibly winning the thing, only losing by 3 to Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and those Kansas City Chiefs that are about to go into their 6th straight AFC Championship game. Now listen, we all knew going into this year, the schedule, we all looked at the schedule and we were like, holy shit, how are the Eagles going to do this? A lot of us didn't have them being 10-1 when they were. We sure the hell didn't have them beating back-to-back Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs, or Kansas City and Buffalo on the road. We didn't have them beating the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it was such a stretch, and again, I can go through the amount of rest days they had off compared to what they didn't. It was one of the most unfair schedules I've seen in the NFL, but the Eagles were 10-1, getting done with the worst part of their schedule. And then they go into this last part where we look at it and we're like, this is easy. They play the Giants twice, they play the Cardinals, they play the Seahawks. Easily they're going to win the East. They're going to be the number 1 seed. Smooth sailing from there, and it just didn't happen. Again, the last time I felt intrigued to make a video, I was actually working in Maryland with Adrenaline Championship Wrestling. The Eagles were facing the Buffalo Bills. I got to watch the game in between parts of the show, and I listened to Mel Reese on the way home, and it was, I remember it was a rainstorm, and it was, I mean, exhilarating. I was so I hadn't been so excited about the team all year. The way Jalen Hurts took the ball at the end, scoring that overtime touchdown that just sealed the whole thing. It was absolutely awesome, and I was like, I can't wait to get home and do a video. Then things happened, and I didn't. And I thought, well, there will be many other games where I'll be able to have this same feeling, probably in the playoffs. And I will do some more videos here. And it's just disaster struck from there. The 49ers completely took the heart of this team. Nick Bosa said, I've got a blueprint. We got the blueprint on how to beat the Eagles, and he was right, because they did. They absolutely showed the league how to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just blitz them beyond approach. They lose to Seattle, where the defense was just absolutely horrible. Sean Desai gets kicked upstairs. You have Matt Patricia calling defensive plays. The offense is out of whack like I've never seen before. They're not running the ball when they should run the ball. The plays are like the same like the Madden playbook for the Philadelphia Eagles would be the same 5 plays over and over again, because that's what it seemed like it was. It was just nothing like we saw in 2022, and we knew going into this year, teams that lose both coordinators don't normally fare well that next year, but we didn't know it was going to be like this. And again, the Eagles kind of bucked the trend. 39% of the teams that lose in the Super Bowl don't get back to the playoffs. So here they were at 10-1, already clinched, getting ready to go into the playoffs. And it seemed like the team had just said, fuck it. We're just going to wait for the playoffs to play. And that's what I hoped would happen when I saw them lose to the Cardinals of all teams.
Good. Shots. Explosive.
And then barely beat the Giants. That team, that felt like a loss on Christmas. And then to lose to the Giants again, I hope they were just playing possum, like Chad Johnson said. I hope that when they face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, now they're the 5th seed, and they face Tampa Bay, who they already destroyed in Week 3. I was expecting them to come out and just turn it on and look like a team that we had seen, and they didn't. They looked uninspired. They looked pathetic, like a team that already had given up before they even got on the field. Jalen Hurts was bad. The coaching was bad. Everything was just bad. I mean, again, DeAndre Swift had torched the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 3, had 10 carries in the playoffs. They didn't use them. It was absolutely mind-blowing to me, and I said to myself, something needs to happen here. I told my father, who I watch every game with, I said, Nick's got to go. Nick Sirianni has got to go. This is the most epic collapse I've ever seen that I can ever remember. He needs to answer for this, and he's got to go. There's just no, there's no excuse that can be given for this. And then I watch this round of the playoffs. You see last week you see Dallas get blown out by the 7th seed Packers. This week the 7th seed should have beat the 49ers. I watch the Buffalo Bills, and I say to myself, would I rather be a Buffalo Bills fan today or an Eagles fan last week? Because I damn sure don't want to be the Buffalo Bills fan who, for years, the same thing has happened. They haven't been able to get to a championship game. They've got Josh Allen, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They got a stout defense. They got a good wide receiver core, a good running back. Their coach has been around the team for years and years and years and years. I don't want to be the Bills today. The Philadelphia Eagles, on the other hand, they've got a head coach that for 3 years have brought them to the playoffs, brought them to a Super Bowl last year, lost both coordinators, and the team just fell apart this year. The solution here is not to get rid of Nick Sirianni. The solution here, and I'm all over the place, but the solution here is Nick Sirianni plus 2 good coordinators equals Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni with 2 shitty coordinators equals collapse and first-round playoff loss. I'm willing to give Nick Sirianni 2 good coordinators again and see what happens. And I understand he's the one that hired these 2 coordinators that were bad, but he's also the same guy that hired the 2 coordinators that were good. So after just 3 years, the Philadelphia media and some of the fan base is ready to throw this guy out. Just throw him out. While I'm watching teams like the Ravens, who wanted Lamar Jackson gone, I've got Ravens fans that are friends of mine, dear friends of mine, that wanted Harbaugh gone. And look at them. They're possibly going to win the Super Bowl this year, having a tremendous season. Again, the Bills, keeping McDermott around for so long. And I know, I don't want to be the Pittsburgh Steelers that have won 1 Super Bowl since 2011. They've got Mike Tomlin. Like, I don't want to be that team. I don't want to be the Bills. I get it. I understand. I think us as Philadelphia fans sometimes don't know how to handle success. So the first bad season, the first collapse, and again, it was an epic collapse, and I'm not saying it wasn't. It was an epic collapse like we've never seen, but I think it's not just on Nick. Now, people say, what does Nick do? He doesn't call plays. What does he do? I don't know. Dan Campbell's over there in Detroit, maybe going to go to a Super Bowl. He didn't go to Super Bowl last year. They didn't even get in the playoffs last year, if I believe. His first year, they didn't do anything. Here he is now about to maybe make a Super Bowl appearance. He doesn't call plays. What does he do? Sets the culture, the game plan, how he wants his defense to look, how he wants his offense to look. And again, I think Nick does the same thing. This year, it failed horribly. Part of the reason is because you've got a superstar quarterback that also has a lifelong friend that was his QB coach that is now his offensive coordinator. They couldn't get along, according to reports this year. Jalen was audibling all the time. They were never on the same page. Nick, not wanting to step on toes, whoever you believe, that happened to him this year. And all I heard after the game and all I heard after the season was praise by the players, by veteran players that everybody loves. Guys like Jason Kelsey, guys like Lane Johnson, guys like Fletcher Cox, all giving Nick praise. I don't think Nick Sirianni is the problem. I think there was, and again, the defensive stuff was just a joke. Desai, they were playing okay at times, but James Bradbury's cooked. They've got no linebackers. I mean, Howie Roseman takes a good part of this, right? Not to get any linebackers. Like, think about it. None. He didn't re-sign T.J. Edwards. Didn't get a replacement for T.J. Edwards. These guys he had, like Cunningham coming off the street. 41, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. All I know is 41 because I see his back all the time. It was terrible. Nakobe Dean hurt all the friggin' time. No safeties. I mean, Kevin Byard was terrible. Terrible trade. Blankenship's great, but he's always hurt. And then, they let CJGJ just leave instead of just paying the kid. So he takes a amount of blame for that. And then Patricia and it was terrible. It was horrible. Gross. But at the same time, I look at this Eagle team, I look at this offense, and I'm like, I think the offense is still the best offense, or still can be the best offense in the East. They can, as it sits right now. Give them a good offensive coordinator. Eric Bieniemy's out there. Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job. I don't think he's going to get a head coaching gig. Man, would I love to see him with Jalen Hurts. I just don't think it's all on Nick. I'm in on keeping Nick as the head coach. Give him a couple of good offensive and defensive coordinator. Hire Frank Wright as an offensive assistant if you have to. Have a good draft this year and sign some good talent. Sign some good players. I watched linebacker play this weekend and it was absolutely awesome. I forgot what that looked like. Bring that back to Philadelphia. And then you've got a team that can compete. You've got a team that's going to be a Super Bowl favorite. And guess what? You got a team that's not going to have a first-place schedule. I mean, it was insane. No one wants to talk about that right now. That in the beginning of the year, we all looked at that schedule. And I don't care if you're a diehard or not. You looked at that schedule and went, holy shit. Miami, Kansas City, Buffalo, San Fran, Dallas, Seattle. Like, Thursday night football, Monday night football. When did the Eagles have a 1 o'clock football game? I'm not down on Jalen Hurts. There's no way you're going to hear me talk shit on a guy that outplayed Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl. If people want to make the Carson Wentz comparison, it's stupid. It's just dumb. Carson Wentz played, 3 snaps in a playoff game as a Philadelphia Eagle. I mean, it's stupid. Did Hurts have an absolutely horrible year? I don't think he had a horrible year. I think he was hurt most of the year. People forgot about he was playing on one leg for most of the season. People forget about that. People forget that in that last Giants game, for whatever reason, again, okay, that has to do with Nick. He was still out there and dislocated 2 of his fingers. We forget about all that. We forget that in the Tampa Bay game they didn't have A.J. Brown. We forget that. We as fans, whatever fits our narrative, we put it out there. My narrative is I think Nick Sirianni is a good coach. I think he's a guy that motivates. This is a dude that was talking about growing plants and flowers, and everyone laughed at. And the next year they're in the Super Bowl. So there's no way after 7 bad games I'm going to kick this dude to the curb. There's not. When I look around in the division and I see what's out there, Brian Daboll, people want Ben Johnson from the Detroit Lions. Think about all of these awesome offensive coordinators that have went to be head coaches and have fizzled out, or their teams just don't do anything. All right, guys, everybody, be safe. Stay healthy. Go Birds. And I'll see you later.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! I need Eagle Nation to stand.